Hi, this is Victor Morganti from Fact Engine. Today we'll be looking at how to store a model as an XML model after you have loaded a NORMA.orm file into Boston. So before us we've got the Boston conceptual modeling software, and on the left hand side is the Model Explorer. To load a NORMA.orm file, just right click on Models and select Import.orm NORMA file. Now I've got one ready here, and just double click on that and Boston will start to load that model into Boston. So NORMA is another object role modeling software that is ORM2 compatible. So this particular model is quite a large model, and it takes a while to load large models because Boston immediately analyzes the entity relationship diagram / property graph schema for a model once it's loaded into Boston. So it does things a little bit differently from NORMA, and if you maximize this screen you might see the status bar down the bottom is madly loading entities and relationships for the entity relationship view. So the ORM model is relatively easy and straightforward to load, but having the three different types of view of a model, that's object role model, entity relationship diagram and property graph schema in Boston, takes a little bit of time when you are importing a NORMA file, because it'll do that immediately when you're loading it. So it's the same as if you were reverse engineering a database, and this particular object role model as a database would have something like 100 tables. So you can imagine analysing a database with 100 tables could take a little bit of time. So that's just about finished now, and you can see in the Model Explorer it's already put the model there. In a second it'll just load the pages for that model and complete the import of the NORMA model into Boston. So this particular model is a meta model of object role modeling itself, and it's quite a large model. So it's just loading the pages now. And it's completed successfully loading the NORMA object role model into Boston. Now it says your NORMA model has been successfully loaded into Boston. Save the model now, recommended. We're going to say no to this because I want to show you how to save it as an XML file, which makes it a lot easier to load the model inside Boston. So I'll say no. Here's the model itself, and there's something like 60 different pages in that model. We'll just open one page in that model just to have a look at that. Now to save this model as XML, right click on the model, go to Model Configuration, select the Advanced tab and select Store as XML Document. Now it says, are you sure you want to store the model as an XML file? If the model is already saved in the database, it may take a moment to remove the model from the database. Well, it's not saved in the database and we're going to store it as XML. So just say yes to that. It's already completed saving the model. Now that makes it a lot easier to load a very large model. You won't notice any difference when you're using Boston, only when you initially load the model. So let's go through that process now. We'll close the Model Explorer. We'll go to View, Model Explorer, and we'll select that Exchange Meter model, so the model we just loaded. Now it's loading from an XML file rather than from the database. So it's 60% already because it's already loaded the XML. It's just going through a process of mapping out the model into Boston format. At 80%, and now we're done. So I'll open up that same page again, and we've loaded the model. So that's a lot quicker than loading a large model in the database. So if you have a large model and it's taking a long time to load from the database, go to the model configuration, advanced settings, and select store as XML, and your model will be stored as XML. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.